The 1970 quarter story also highlights the broader appeal of coin collecting as a hobby and investment. Known as numismatics, this field blends history, art, and finance. Collectors don't just chase valuable coins, they preserve tangible pieces of the past. A single rare coin can be worth more than an entire collection of common ones, showing why quality and rarity matter more than sheer quantity. If you're new to the hobby, start by studying U.S. coinage history, learn how to recognize mint marks and varieties, and keep an eye out for unusual features. Coin collecting isn't only for profit. It's a way to connect with history, culture, and craftsmanship. Every coin tells a story about the time and place it was minted, the people, the politics, the economic conditions. The 1970 quarter, with its rare errors, tells a story of human oversight and mechanical imperfection during an era of technological transition at the mint. These imperfections make the coin uniquely human, and that's part of its charm. As you explore your own coins, remember that the thrill isn't just about striking it rich, it's also about discovery. Imagine holding a coin that accidentally crossed borders, a US quarter imprinted over a Canadian coin, circulating unnoticed for decades. That's not just money, that's history in your hand. Whether you're an investor looking for high returns or simply curious about coins, the 1970 quarter invites you to look closer at what you might otherwise overlook. Even if you never find the ultra-rare $30,000 specimen, learning to recognize valuable varieties can pay off. Many coins from the 1970s and 1980s have mint errors or double dies that sell for more than face value. By educating yourself, you turn every coin search into a treasure hunt. And with millions of coins still in circulation, the odds of discovery are better than you might think. In conclusion, the 1970 quarter is far more than just a piece of spare change, it's a window into US mint history, a symbol of collector passion, and a potential jackpot hiding in plain sight. From the legendary 1970s proof struck on a Canadian coin to the sought-after double die varieties, this coin continues to capture imaginations and inspire treasure hunters worldwide. So, the next time you're sorting through your change or browsing old coin sets, take a closer look, because you never know when an ordinary quarter might turn out to be worth thousands. The 1970 Washington quarter is not just spare change, it's one of the most intriguing coins in modern US history. While most quarters from this year are only worth face value, a small number contain errors and varieties so rare that they have shocked collectors and auction houses alike. Among these treasures is the famous 1970s proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian coin, a mistake that never should have happened, yet somehow slipped out of the US Mint. These extraordinary coins have sold for over $30,000, proving that treasure can still hide in plain sight. To understand why this coin matters, let's go back to the history of the Washington Quarter series. First minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the design by John Flanagan replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became a permanent part of U.S. currency. Until 1964, quarters were struck in 90% silver, but as silver prices rose, the government switched to a copper-nickel clad composition starting in 1965. By 1970, production techniques were modernized, but occasional errors still occurred, and those errors are exactly what collectors chase today. The 1970s proof quarter is special because it was produced at the San Francisco Mint, where proof coins are made for collectors rather than circulation. Proof coins are struck with polished dies to create mirror-like surfaces, making any error highly visible. The most famous error is the one struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet. Instead of using a blank meant for a US coin, the mint mistakenly used a foreign coin that had been in the facility for testing. Under magnification, traces of the Canadian design can be seen beneath Washington's portrait, making this coin one of the rarest mint blunders in American history. But that's not the only valuable 1970 quarter. Another well-known variety is the 1970s double die obverse (DDO). On these coins, the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust appears doubled, a result of misaligned hubs used during the die creation process. While not as valuable as the foreign planchet error, these coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on grade and condition. Additionally, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and other minor mint errors from this year have also attracted serious collector interest. How do you know if your 1970 quarter is special? Start with the mint mark. Look for an S below Washington's neck. This indicates a San Francisco proof coin, which is where most of the rare varieties originate. Next, examine the coin closely with a jeweler's loupe or digital microscope. If you see doubling in the text or any unusual underlying images, you might have something truly valuable. Even minor imperfections, like off-center designs or missing details, can add premium value. One critical warning: never clean your coin. Collectors value originality above all else, and cleaning can scratch the surface, removing the patina that authenticate. Welcome to Rare Coin World, the channel where we uncover hidden treasures in everyday change. Today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1970 Washington quarter. While it may look ordinary, some versions of this coin have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Among the most valuable is the 1970 S-proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian coin, a mint error so rare that collectors have paid over $30,000 to own one. Other varieties, like the double die obverse or off-center strikes, also carry impressive value, often selling for hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. The key is knowing what to look for. Check the mint mark, search for doubling in the lettering, and look for unusual designs underneath the portrait. If you find a coin like this, don't clean it. Cleaning can ruin its value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and get it authenticated by services like PCGS or NGC, then consider selling it through reputable auction houses to attract serious collectors. The 1970 quarter is proof that hidden treasures still circulate in pockets and coin jars, waiting to be discovered. Whether you're a collector, an investor, or just curious, this coin story shows how a simple piece of change can turn into life-changing money. The story of the 1970 quarter also reflects how modern coin production evolved. By the late 1960s, the U.S. Mint was under pressure to meet huge public demand for coins while also maintaining strict quality control. With millions of coins produced every day, small errors inevitably slipped through. These mistakes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, were usually destroyed when discovered at the mint. Yet, a few escaped, and it's these survivors that collectors treasure today. The 1970 quarter is a prime example of how even a single overlooked coin can become legendary. One reason the 1970 S-proof quarter is so extraordinary is because proof coins were intended to be perfect. Proof coins were made for collectors, not for circulation, using polished dies and special planchets to create flawless mirror-like finishes. Because of this higher standard, any proof coin with a mint error stands out as extremely rare. For a proof coin to be struck on a foreign planchet, in this case, a 1941 Canadian coin, is almost unthinkable. This means that during production at the San Francisco Mint, an older Canadian coin blank somehow remained in the facility and was accidentally used to strike a U.S. quarter. Collectors love coins with stories like this because they combine rarity with mystery. How did a foreign coin end up in a U.S. Mint press? How did it escape detection? Questions like these add to the allure and drive up the price. Whenever one of these 1970 S-proof quarters surfaces at auction, it attracts global attention. Even seasoned collectors are fascinated, knowing only a handful exist worldwide. Beyond the famous foreign planchet error, there are other valuable varieties to watch for. The 1970 S double die obverse (DDO) is another key coin. In this variety, the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled, a result of the die being misaligned during its creation. These coins may not sell for $30,000 like the Canadian planchet error, but they can still bring hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on condition. High-grade examples, especially those authenticated by PCGS or NGC, are especially sought after by collectors building full Washington quarter sets. Collectors often use tools like digital microscopes, 10x magnifying loupes, or even smartphone macro lenses to inspect coins. With modern technology, it has never been easier to spot subtle errors or varieties. If you're searching proof sets from 1970 or even rolls of circulated quarters, it's worth taking the time to check each coin carefully. You never know when you might find a valuable treasure hiding in plain sight. The market for rare coins has grown steadily over the years. With online platforms and major auction houses publicizing big sales, more people are becoming aware of rare quarters and other error coins. This increased demand has pushed prices even higher. A coin that might have sold for $5,000 a decade ago could fetch double or triple today. Simp.